Okay, here we are, day 3. This is amazing. Look at all the folks. Y'all came back. Woo woo. I'm super excited about that. Let me just get myself set up here and move my notes over there. Wow, this is fantastic. Good morning, Ginger. Good morning, Liz. I need to pop open my chat box so I can really see this and maintain my level of engagement with you guys. I want to make sure my desk is set up at the right height. Can you believe these? They blew up like overnight. They're crazy, amazing. I love them. And I also want to thank everybody who commented on the pink shirt yesterday. So I felt like I needed to go with pink-ish theme today. So there you go. And let's get this party started. Good morning, everybody. Yes, please share where you're calling in from. And actually, if you're popping in, thank you. You might want to put your names at the beginning of the session, and that way you don't have to be held up at the end for my little attendance ritual. I wanted to remind folks that if you remember, when we put the registration out, we tantalized folks with the possibility of being part of a drawing. So we're going to do that drawing this afternoon, and I'll share the results with you later on today. But I'll remind you at the end of the session as well. Look at all of you guys. Nashville, hey Kyle, New Jersey, Midway, Utah, Oregon, Tampa, ooh, Ohio. Is everyone digging out? Everyone that was buried alive with the snow? Hey, my Scottish friends. I know Texas got hit. I mean, places that should absolutely not have to deal with snow have had to deal with snow. So I hope you guys are all safe and that the power is coming back for everybody. Let me just come on over here and we'll get this party started. Look at all of you guys, Minnesota, Southern California, sweet. Awesome sauce. Okay, so we are here. We are day 3, and the focus for today is all about reset. It's warmer than Texas and Jamaica Plain. Oh my heavens, Sarah. Oh my heavens to Betsy. To remind everybody that we do have learning objectives. You know, we are offering some CE, and I will follow up this afternoon about that as well. And today's learning objective is that you will discover how you can begin your transformation through this resetting that I'm going to present today. But let me just recap, because I know there are some folks on the call that haven't been able to be with us throughout the series, and I don't know where folks are at with watching the recordings, but I do appreciate folks have been actually making comments on the videos with the Fill Your Cup webinar series, and I really appreciate that. That's really sweet, and hopefully I've gotten back to everybody. So just a brief recap. Monday, if you remember, we looked at what's in your cup. The focus or the topic for that session was about restore. But in order to restore, you really need to kind of unbundle yourself. You need to empty your cup out and examine what's in there. Does it need to be in there? And so we talked about that. And we also talked about feelings, because we have feelings about the stuff that's in our cup, right? And we need to listen to the feelings, right? That our feelings are our GPS system, if you will. They're there to help guide us in assessing and determining what's working for us and what's not working for us. And we can make those decisions based on how we feel about them, right? Feelings have real value. Yesterday, we talked about what it feels like to be you and how you want it to feel to be you. And you guys, I mean, I have to be honest with you. I am completely blown away by the honesty and by your courage and just putting it all out there and being really raw with me about how you feel. And it's very validating because I can resonate with those feelings. I have those feelings. We all share those feelings. And so I think sometimes, you know, there's comfort, right? When you're not alone. I'm not the only person on the planet feeling like this. Others have felt this way or are feeling this way. And so in that, we can draw support from our community, from our shared humanity. Yesterday, I also introduced to you different strategies to support your renewal. And I hope you all got the little handout attachment about the 20 strategies for renewal. I attached it to the email, and I also put it on the learning management system. So I hope that you've all gotten access to that. Someone did reach out to me yesterday, and I will go back to the chat this afternoon as I recap everything. About not having access to the learning management system. If you're having that kind of a challenge, just private message me, send me your email. It may mean that you're just not on the master roster list, which is totally cool. I know many folks had emailed me before the series began about their desire to share this information with their colleagues and other folks. So it's all good. I just want to make sure that you're getting access to the material. Good morning, Annette. Hey, Bob from Iowa. This is so wicked cool. Thank you, Tracy from Iowa City. Oh my goodness, Christine from Texas. Oh, goodness gracious. I can't keep up with you all. Mwah, mwah, love you all, and good morning to you all. So today, I'm wicked pumped to share with you the focus for today's talk is about reset. And we're going to be looking at resetting your outlook on what is possible. But I did realize when I was wrapping up yesterday that I failed to go over the last reflection. So, and actually when I was, kind of preparing for today, I thought this actually might have been a sign from the universe, because this reflection actually sets us up nicely for the topic for today. So if you all wouldn't mind opening your workbook to page 13. And if you don't have your workbook, don't sweat it. Just pull out a piece of paper and I'll read to you what the quote is. And then I'm going to ask you to reflect on it. Okay? You ready to go? Ready to get started? So here's the quote, and it's from this really cool book called The Power of Showing Up, and it's by Daniel J. Siegel. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with him, but he's just a super genius brainiac guy, all about neurobiology and particular interest around trauma and trauma experiences. And then his co-author, Tina Payne Bryson. So here's the quote. I want you to listen, and then the first thoughts that come up, start jotting them down. When we gather the courage to examine our past and develop the ability to reflect on and tell our own story without running from it or becoming preoccupied with it, we can begin to heal from our past wounds. So I'd like you to just jot down on your piece of paper, what are the thoughts that come up to you? And I'm going to chat while you're doing that, okay? And I hope it's not too distracting. Because this is really kind of a recap of what we did on Monday, right? When we gather the courage to examine our past and be able to reflect on it, that's pulling those cups out and looking at them. And then instead of getting all either bogged up and perseverating about it and fretting about it and, just kind of judging and going over on it, or running away, stuffing it down and paying no attention to it. If we can look at it and really metabolize it and process it, it actually gives us the power to heal from those wounds, and not just heal, but to grow. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with this term of post-traumatic growth. That in all honesty, these experiences that we have, they're nuggets. That's a word that my colleague uses all the time, and I'm starting to adopt it into my lexicon. I really like it because all of our story gives us these nuggets that not only help us heal, but help us grow beyond. And so I'm looking at what folks are writing up here about their reflection on this quote. Honesty, vulnerability, growth. Yeah, exactly. Be truthful with ourselves. Past insensitivities. Yeah, and when we think about these things, right? Many of us, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this as I move through the content, but we have an operating system, right? And we can either choose to be present and activate our operating system aware with intention, or we can just kind of, hit the snooze alarm and just go from our default setting. And that's when we're not awake and aware to the possibilities of us really moving into that higher expression of who we are. Um, I like this: new perspectives, freedom, new pathways. I'm going to talk a little bit about neural pathways. Stop being ashamed or feel unnecessary guilt. Be more kind to self. It all begins with you. Being trauma informed, being the highest expression of who you choose to be, begins with you, with your self compassion, with your self kindness. Past perceived failures need to be looked at with compassion and seen as learning nuggets. Yes, I wonder if you know the same gal that I know who uses the word nuggets. Gratitude lighter. I like that, right? These are lessons that the universe or God or who, wherever your spiritual home is, have given us. If we choose, right, to do that, to do the work, to examine it. Acceptance, beautiful, Yukiko. Thank you. Just now able. Oh, that's okay, Melinda. No worries. Being authentic. Exactly. And so what I'd like to do is kind of just, I'm going to do a sidebar and tell you a little bit about this quote with regards to the work that I do. So in the second edition of Transformative Nursing in the NICU, which by the way isn't just for the NICU, one of the things that I blew up about the book was when I talk about the core measures, which I hope you're all familiar with. And if you're not, no big deal. I can explain it. But the 5 core measures. These are disease independent needs, human needs around sleep, pain and stress management, being with family, um, having a healing environment, and the activities of daily living, which is posture and play, eating and nourishment, and skincare and hygiene. Um, in my journey of becoming trauma informed and becoming a trauma informed professional, um, I started out with a focus of these core measures exclusively on the baby, right? Because this was a new concept, trauma-informed care, and I was obsessed about its implications for the baby, which it absolutely has. But in my journey, what I've discovered is it's not only the baby, right? It's the family in crisis, but it's us as well. And I kind of touched upon this over the past 2 sessions, right? That bearing witness in the work that we do, it takes a toll on us. And so we can use these core measures as strategies for renewal that I talked about yesterday. And I kind of blew up those chapters for each core measure. I start out with an introduction about what this core measure is about. For example, sleep, right? I kind of talk about why it's important and what it is. But then I roll right into sleep and the clinician and the challenges that healthcare professionals, I do focus on healthcare professionals in the clinician section, and shift work, and working 12-hour shifts, and when we circle back to the next shift, when that gap is not adequate for optimal sleep, how that affects us. But then I also follow up with evidence-based strategies, and I've done that for every single core measure. Then I also blew it up for the family, and then of course come back home to the infant with what's the science say and what are the evidence-based strategies. And so I think you'll really find that really helpful as well as you embark on this journey towards transformation and embrace this idea of resetting, that might be a place to start. And so I'm just checking back in here. Scars are proof that something tried to kill you, but you were stronger. Exactly, Kristen. And I think it was yesterday, Stacy shared in the chat about, I think it's the Japanese have a practice of when a glass vase or something breaks, they actually glue it back together and paint it with gold, because those scars, they're badges of honor, they're badges of growth, right? And we need to really embrace that. And that's part of the self-love, the self-compassion, self-kindness that someone had mentioned earlier in the chat box. Stepping back, seeing others' perspectives sometimes makes it easier to understand. Exactly, because we can see we can see ourselves in other. And that's from the work of Jean Watson. Releasing those feelings of inadequacy, we learn more from and remember more with regards to our mistakes. Exactly. And so the invitation today is to think about this word reset like you're resetting your internal operating system. It's about an upgrade. Okay. How many of you guys, you have to upgrade your operating system in your computer, right? I actually remember not too long ago, my business coach, who's still my business coach today. I love her madly, Mel McIntyre. Um, and when we first started working together, she used this expression with me about I needed to upgrade my operating system. And I just thought that was really clever, because what she was talking about was my mindset, right? I needed an upgrade. I needed to shift how I had been thinking about myself, my work, my mission, and really let go of the things that weren't serving me, that were holding me back from fully embracing that mission, that grander view, that higher expression of who I'm supposed to be and who I have been called to be in this lifetime. So, how many of you guys are familiar with this expression, where your energy, where your attention goes, your energy flows, and results show? How many of you guys have heard that expression? Well, it's cool, Yep, I see people's hands raised. I love that. Yeah, I have to get used to seeing the hands raised, so I apologize for my delay. um, this idea of where your attention goes actually has neurological roots. Okay, so let's get nerdy for a sec here. Okay, and recognize the power of the reticular activating system. What? Yeah, I had to get my nerd on here a little bit, right? We've never heard it, but makes sense. Okay, and yeah, exactly, right, Una? Where your attention goes, your energy flows. I mean, think about your thoughts. Think about your chores, right? I mean, when I'm thinking about prepping for this, everything else is, I'm all about this. And when I'm finished, I know I've tapped my resources a bit, right? But then the results show, and hopefully the results for my attention for this series and everything is showing good results. But sometimes, our attention goes into the negative talk, right? And our energy flows to there. And I want you to kind of think about that for a second. And when your attention is going towards that negative self-talk, or some kind of thing that is not positive, how it feels, right? And you actually shared some of this on Monday, and even yesterday as well, when we were going through the questions. So where your attention goes, your energy flows, and then the results of that become evident. The reticular activating system is the attention center in your brain. It's a network of neurons located in the brainstem that projects anteriorly to the hypothalamus to mediate behavior, and posteriorly to the thalamus and directly to your cortex. So if you remember, I talked a little bit about this on Monday, this idea of neuroception, and how it's all about where your attention goes, but your attention is often at an unconscious or a subconscious level, right? We sometimes aren't even aware that we're fretting at an unconscious level. And that's really, we'll talk a little bit about that today, but that's really about your belief system. And so you can actually, the key to turning on your brain is really by choosing the messages and choosing what you want your brain and your unconscious to be focused on, to be attentive to. So, and that's really where the benefit, I think, of setting goals for yourself, right? Saying affirmations, visualizing your goals. And when you do this, right, and actually, if you do it out loud, you actually have that multisensory input, because that's how the RAS system works. It's all mediated by your senses. And how many of us are always aware of what our senses are telling us? Not often, unless it's like an in your face sense. So for example, right, this is really bad, but my dog at the beginning of the week, actually before Monday's session, had an encounter with a skunk. And even though I live in Boston, yes, we have skunks. And so it wasn't as horrible as it could have been, but it was bad enough. And even though my attention was, we were making breakfast, we were doing oatmeal and stuff like that. Yes, exactly, Meredith. Oh no. Immediately that smell came, and it was boom, right? My attention immediately got shifted to, oh my gosh, the dog, blah, 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 blah. So, and I won't torture you with all the details, but poor Dan just, he's still trying to recover from the experience. But you can see, right? So how it's your senses, right? Hearing, and oftentimes we don't pay a lot of attention. Think about, when you're in a unit, and this is where we worry about alarm fatigue, right? That we get desensitized to all the sensory input, right? Because it's overstimulating, right? But again, what the world is telling you through your senses is what you will draw your attention to, right? Your brain will be brought attentive to that stimulation, or those thoughts, or those feelings, right? Those things that arise at the subcortical and brainstem level. Are you with me? Okay, so good, thank you. So if that's the facts, and it is okay, we can't really bunk with biology, then I'm going to share another quote with you. How many of you are familiar with this very famous quote by Henry Ford? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so as I say that, right, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. What thoughts arise when I say that quote? I know, I love that quote too, right? What does that make you think? For me, it's actually pretty empowering, because if that's true, which I believe it is, then I actually can be the captain of my own ship, to use an analogy that we use in the trauma informed professional program. You manifest what you think. Maybe. Exactly. So it's not this very simple process, but that is the general thing. You are in control. It is. It's manifesting, and it is validating. And I want you to think about maybe some experiences that you've had in your life where maybe you felt like, oh man, I really don't want to do this, but I'm just going to go in. I'm going to put on a positive attitude. I'm going to shift my mindset and get through this. Well, we probably shouldn't say get through this, because that's kind of suggests like, oh, but you've tried this manifestation. You've tried to just be positive and move through it. And how has it turned out? Yes, exactly. Don't rely on what others tell you can or can't do. You're driving the car. And although I don't want to get too heavy into, the universal laws and all that sort of thing, I mean, there is truth behind these universal laws, right? There's truth behind the law of gravity. There's truth behind the law of relativity, the law of cause and effect, and the law of attraction as well. When we think about the words of Carl Jung, right? A world-renowned psychologist, who says, what you resist persists and grows. And that really does align with this idea of the law of attraction. But I will just say a caveat for folks that may not be very familiar with this. Some people think the law of attraction is, so I just sit around and I wish for something and wait for it to happen. And no, absolutely not. The law isn't about wishing and sitting passively. It's about setting an intention and taking imperfect action with imperfect courage towards your goals, and believing in yourself and believing that you can achieve that goal. But oftentimes it's easy, and we actually kind of get conditioned into this mindset of if you want to get anything in life, you have to work really hard for it. We have mindsets around money. I mean, that was one that I struggled with, right? Because people with money are mean, they're greedy, they're not positive, right? And so you have to work through these mindsets, these beliefs that, yes, working hard, there is a benefit for it, but it's not, you work really hard and then you deserve something. Remember what we talked about on Monday. You are deserving of everything just by nature of who you are. Because you are you. You deserve everything. You deserve all your dreams to come true. You don't have to pass a test. You don't have to meet certain criteria to be worthy of receiving anything, of achieving anything, of becoming anything. The only thing you need is the desire, the intention, and the belief. And then, of course, the courage to take action. I know it really is. You know, we are conditioned with social stereotypes. Um, you go, Laura, right? Every gym class I do, I think I can't do it, but I keep going back. Exactly. That's why I like a personal trainer, because I'm so not hard on myself. But when I have my personal trainer, and I hope I can have her back soon, I can't do virtual gym. I can't do virtual gym because I'm such a slacker. But I know that about myself, right? I do better with support from others. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes as well. And so I think, what I want to do now is invite you to go back to your notebook, your workbook rather. And let me just find the page and open up to page 16. And if you don't have it, I'm going to read the question. It's very simple. I want you to answer this question. What makes you feel alive? First thing that comes to your mind, write it down. What makes you feel alive? Yeah, right? The big outdoors, music, energy. My daughter, yes. My grands, yes. A good night's sleep. That's right, Liz. Yes, exactly. Singing, dancing. Yeah, exactly, right? Traveling. Going back to that beginner's mind that we talked about on Monday. I think travel, I know, the ocean, sunshine, laughter, rest, sleep, music, freedom and solitude, the art museum, absolutely, yes. Traveling, dancing. Oh my gosh, look at all of you guys, right? My kids, going on a date with my husband. Phew, yeah, that would be fun, right? Praying, yeah, exactly. Exploring new places, learning new things. Oh, God bless you, Jackie. Thank you. Me, crafting, being present in the moment, crafting. Those are the things that make you feel alive. And I want you to just sit with this feeling right now, okay? And I want you to jot down now that you've shared this, right? When you thought about what makes you feel alive, it generated an emotion, right? It generated a feeling. Can you share what those feelings are when you write that down? When you wrote down all of these things? Yes, joy. I mean, I'm getting excited for you guys, right? Lighthearted, joyful, peaceful, love. Yes, all of that beautiful inner peace, right? It's an excitement, it's fun. You feel relaxed and connected, right? Immediately joyful. Yes, and I like that you said the word immediately, because what you did was you triggered your reticular activating system, right? You triggered that behavior or I'm sorry, the feeling that is associated with that behavior or with that action. Excited, rejuvenated. And so what our goal is, right, in resetting our operating system is to really figure out, how do we keep that going then? How do we keep that feeling alive, right? And, I mean, I get it. You can't always just go around. I mean, maybe you could, right? Just skipping and hopping and singing and dancing and just feeling good all the time. Because, we also have other aspects that make us feel alive, right? I mean, you've written all of this amazing, beautiful stuff, and I'm right with you, every single one of those experiences. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, doing this work also makes me feel alive, right? I mean, I feel alive with my grandbabies. I feel alive hanging out with my husband. I feel alive playing ping pong with him upstairs. But I also feel alive sharing this message, sharing this word. And so what my, goal is for me then is I need to take steps to try and maintain that connection, that level of energy, right? And how do I do that? I look at my 20 renew strategies yesterday, right? I, keep my subscription for flowers coming. I continue to do my journaling and reading in the morning. But, so to reset, there's action that I have to take. I can't just hope or wish for things to get better. I have to take action to it. But I am inspired to take that action because I want more of this feeling, right? Are you with me? All right. So, saying all of that, right, and sharing all of this, you guys, I want you to now go and flip to page 17 and answer this next question. What do you want to fill your cup up with? Right? We're kind of coming full circle. But what do you want to fill your cup up with now? You've shared with me what makes you feel alive. You've shared with me how it feels to be you and how you want to have it feel to be you. You did not, Robin. You ordered a book yesterday for myself. You go, girl. There you go. This is right, Meredith. I like that you share this in craniosacral therapy. It is believed that trauma remains in the body unless specifically attended to. I'm going to circle back to that. So what people want to fill their cups up with is a subscription to books, right? That's how I'm going to fill my cup up with. I'm going to fill my cup up with vacations and trips with the family and sharing joy and self-care. Oh my heavens, profound forgiveness for myself. Exactly. That's what, and so again, we have to be attentive to that, right? We have to realize that, okay, we know, right? It's our inner wisdom is like putting the call light on. Hello, up there, are you listening to me? This is what we want in our cup, not all that other stuff that you stuffed in there and you don't even know half of what's in there. Folks actually emailed me back, which I really appreciated, that they discovered that there was stuff in there inside in their cup that was stale, was old, wasn't even anything that had brought any value to them, right? And so if this is what we want to put in our cup, visits with friends, in-person hugs, I am like in major hug deprivation mode. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm sure you can all relate to it, right? Then we need to then answer this final question. Take a moment and tell me, what is holding you back then? What is holding you back from filling your cup with all of these beautiful things that you've just shared with me that you want to fill your cup up with? Okay, fair enough. Money, fear, me, anxiety, time, fear of letting go of others, saying no. So I can read to my yes, feeling unworthy. Oh, powerful. Pushing down that feeling of unworthiness, money, fear, overwhelm, energy level. Exactly. Exactly. These are the things that are holding you back. And so, again, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your transparency. Age, Jacqueline, age, I have to make a sidebar here, okay? Age is just a number, right? How do you feel and how can you renew yourself? Because listen, I'm what's the right? I am of oh, how do they say it now? It's not a special age or something like that. I forget. I read this thing, and it was something about the goddess, and it was talking about staying vital and stuff like that. Ageless. Yes, I'm ageless. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. I apologize. A certain age. Thank you, Sarah. A certain age or ageless, that you're as old as you feel, and that feeling is a choice. I mean, I do have my moments, right, where I think about, um, just practicality and stuff like that. How much time do I have left on the planet, right? I mean, you do get to a certain age and you do start thinking about that. And you think about, well, what's my legacy, right? And so I'm going to invite you to think about that. And you don't have to be 61, to start thinking about your legacy, right? We're all invited to create our legacy. And what is that? Take the what ifs out of my cup. Exactly. Procrastination. Health can be a real challenge to filling up your cup. But I also believe too, and you can see how you can move through this when we take that courageous action to improve our health, right? And we shift our mindset. And particularly when we have chronic health issues, that can be very debilitating and very challenging. And it requires us that we really then take forward action, courageous, imperfect action to shift our mindset. And if you remember, I can't remember if I talked about this, so if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me, but the way we feel affects our physiology, and the way and our physiology affects the way we feel. So we can actually by changing how we feel about something, how we examine something, how we surrender to something, we can change our biology. When we're freaking out and stressed out about something, we actually activate, right, a stress response. And that stress response releases inflammatory mediators, interleukin, tumor necrosing factor, cortisol, catecholamines, all these other kinds of crazy things that then wreak havoc on our physiology that makes us even more anxious because now we're physically not feeling well, and it becomes this really vicious cycle. And so by taking these intentional steps towards resetting, towards renewal, we can restore our balance. The power is with us. But as I say this, guys, all right, I also know that it's not going to happen overnight, right? Just like, meditation is a practice, right? Yoga is a practice. Being mindful and being self-compassionate and moving, to become more trauma informed, it's a practice, right? I mean, we talk about the roller coaster ride, right? In the hospital environment. Life is a roller coaster ride, and we need to surrender to that and not beat ourselves up about it, but use those dips on the road to I fell off, right? You only know the light because of the dark. You only know the peaks because of the valleys. And so that level of awareness and being awake helps you to begin that transformation. In order to reset, you need to know where you are right now. You've shared lots of stuff with me over the past few days of where you are and where you want to be. But it's super important, right, to know where you are. Think about the GPS, right? If I want to go to Bangor, Maine, I need to know where I'm starting from with my GPS, right? And that's what this process is all about. You need to know where you're starting in order to then figure out, how am I going to map my journey? And when you set the map, right? I said I wanted to go to Bangor, Maine. I need to know where I'm going. So you guys, you need to identify, where am I going? Where am I? What am I trying to become? Right? I mean, I keep using this expression of the highest expression of who you were called to be, the highest expression of who you choose to be. And that's limitless, literally limitless. So think about that, right? I mean, write that down in the notes section. Where are you going? And then what you need to do, once you see where you're going, you need to prepare for the journey. Because this is no, weekend trip, right? This is your life. And I've got 10 strategies here that I'm going to share with you. So get out your pen. All right. I'm going to kind of talk through them. But I hope that they are valuable to you, and they've been very valuable to me. So I want to share. So, in preparing for your journey to reset, you need to first release. I love Maine, but Bangor really, I know. I should actually say Bar Harbor or Booth Bay Harbor, which is where we went not too long ago. So, but Bangor came to my mind, so I had to go with it. Okay, so first, preparing for your journey, release what is no longer serving you. And you've started that process, right? Release old habits, patterns, thoughts, actions, maybe relationships, maybe jobs, maybe situations. Identify what that is. Release what is no longer serving you. Let go of your past. You are not defined by what you survived. Let it go. Metabolize it, okay? Because I want you to release what doesn't serve you, but preserve that nugget and bring it with you. But let go of your past is number 2. And stay out of doubt. And what that means is we have a choice. We can either create intentionally or by default through our thoughts and our feelings. But if we're creating with doubt, then we're kind of, what do you call it? We're blindsiding ourselves. So try and stay out of doubt. If you decide, I want to be the next, I don't know, the next Maya Angelou, who I think we already know who that's going to be, right? That amazing woman, her name is escaping me now. But if you want to be the next Maya Angelou, then you got to go for it. Stay out of doubt. Keep your eye on the prize. My goal, okay, I want to have 1,000 people enrolled in the Trauma Informed Professional Certificate Program. I want to amass such a large cadre of clinicians to take on this movement. That's right, Amanda Gorman. Mwah. What a lovely soul. What a beautiful human being. Amazing story. And I'm sure she also had a vision, right? And she shares that. And she stays out of doubt. Now, it's not that doubt doesn't creep in. Of course, doubt creeps in. But you have to be aware and notice it, right? When we talked about the inner critic, there's lots of players here on my shoulders, right? But I don't let them drive the car. I know that, yeah, that they were preemies. I notice that, okay, doubt's creeping in. What's going on? What am I feeling? And I find that doubt and my inner critic and fear, they creep in when my tank is empty. And so when I notice those guys, I go, okay, I gotta, either shut down, take a look at the context of what I'm doing, and then restore myself, right? Renew myself. Go take a bath. Go do something that soothes me so that I can, so noticing these things. So staying out of doubt is number 3. Number 4 is use fear as a leverage. And as I say the word fear, not the fear, right, that keeps you alive, right? Not, obviously the fear that you have because, you're in the middle of the street and a car is bearing down on you. Act on that fear. That's trying to keep you alive. But most fear isn't really fear of a life-threatening event. Most fear is resistance to change, resistance to something new, feeling insecure. So use that fear, notice it. Like I just said, when you notice doubt, notice fear, and courageously go for it with total honesty and authenticity and belief, conviction. Number 5 is pay attention and tend to your energy. And that, again, that was yesterday. That's the renew thing, and you'll notice that, paying attention to your energy when doubt and fear start popping up. A practice to prepare for this journey is set a daily intention. That's number 6. Set a daily intention, whatever it is. And you don't have to set just one, right? You can set many intentions. I set an intention before I get out of bed. I set an intention before I started this session. When the thought to set an intention pops up, take on the invitation and set an intention. Number 7 is create community or join a community. I think about our trauma-informed professional community. We've got 100 folks in our pilot program, and our goal is to expand that community to 1,000 this year. That's a community of like-minded, heart-centered people who have similar long-term goals and also share in the struggles. I think sometimes we forget that the challenges that we encounter aren't unique just to us. I have this happen to a lot when I do work with NICUs. They'll say, well, we try this, but we have this kind of a situation, and it's really frustrating, and people just don't adopt change, and we've got these naysayers and stuff like that. I look at them like, yeah, that's everywhere. This is not just in Boston, Massachusetts. This is everywhere on the planet struggles with this. And so knowing that, it can be kind of frustrating, but there's also a sense of comfort in that. Then I'm sharing my stuff with other people who know my struggles. And in creating that community, it's empowering. You can establish accountability, and it's just wicked awesome, right? So create community is a preparation for your journey to reset. Number 8 is be honest and authentic. With others for sure, but with yourself. Right? Don't try and fool yourself, because your inner wisdom knows better. So be honest and authentic. Make that commitment to yourself. And then number 9 is let go of the ropes. Take the leap. We're conditioned to be prepared, right? We kind of talked about this, have a plan B just in case. But the minute you start talking plan B, that means you don't have the belief, you don't have the faith. I'll tell you a very quick story. When I first was embarking on like full on being real, carrying essentials, not just like, ooh, I have a logo and a URL, and that was it. When I first had that first contract with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, I had to leap, literally. It was like, I have to quit my regular job, quit my day job. And I was terrified, literally terrified. I had never not had a regular job. What if I flopped? What if it failed? What if it went pear-shaped? Then what am I going to do? Oh my gosh. But I had to let go of the ropes and believe that this was the right thing to do. So please know, it was super, 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 super scary. And it's not like, oh, so check, I already had my really terrifying experience in life. There's no more ropes that I have to let go of. I'm always having to let go of ropes. We all are invited to let go of the ropes. But you can do it as long as you have that faith and you believe that where you're going is where you're going, is where you're supposed to be. And the final one about preparation is be deliberate and remember choice. You get to decide. You always have control over the situation. It might not feel like it sometimes, but the thing that you have control over is how you respond. That's your control. I'm sorry. That's your power. That's your secret weapon, if you will. That you have power over how you will respond. And that's everything. You control your next decision. You control your next step. And all of those fears that you mentioned, money, feeling unworthy, and all that kind of stuff, I totally get it. But sometimes you have to just, if you know it's the right decision, you got to let go of the ropes. And I'm going to tell you, and I hope you believe me, but I've had multiple experiences that have reaffirmed my belief in this, that if you truly believe and you truly commit, all of the things you need will show up. I remember when I enrolled in my first business coaching program. It was expensive. It was $10,000, and I was terrified. I knew in my heart of hearts I needed to do this because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I mean, I'd been spinning my wheels for years and not making any headway for years. So I knew I needed help. And I had a word with a friend of mine who was an accountability buddy with in another coaching program. And she said, you just have to believe that's the right thing to do. And I did it. And I had enough to make the deposit, and I knew I had enough for the next month's payment, and I believed, I affirmed, I intended, I did all of that. And my husband even jokes, he goes, I don't know what it is about you, Mary, but money just shows up when it needs to show up. Now, not like a magic wand. I mean, obviously I'm doing work and stuff like that. I'm taking the actions. But again, when you do that, when you commit, when you choose, then it's right there for you. But you have to believe, right? I mean, you absolutely have to believe, and you have to have that conviction. And so, sometimes this is a process where you're at right now, but maybe you're not ready to leap, and that's okay. You can only take the leap when you are ready. Number 2 was let go of your past. You are not defined by what you survived. And I'll share all of this with you guys. And number 1 was release what is no longer serving you. And those are like old habits, thoughts, actions, relationships, jobs. Okay? And so I'm going to ask you to now turn to the last page of the booklet. And just be open to this, and then I just share what thoughts come right in the chat box, because I didn't put a text box there for you to write any reflections. But tell me what you think about this, right? In the end, only the wounded physician can heal. Substitute any discipline in there. In the end, only the wounded physician can heal. And even he or she, in the last analysis, cannot heal beyond the extent to which he or she has healed self. First thoughts that pop up, pop them in the chat box. In the end, only the wounded healer can heal. But in the last analysis, the wounded healer can only heal to the extent in which he or she has been healed. Yes, self-awareness is everything. One who's gone through it can heal. I can only help others as much as I can help myself. Yes, leaders need to be vulnerable. Absolutely. It is empathy. It's actually super empathy. Just like you say, Mary, you can't give what you don't have if you don't heal yourself. You cannot help others authentically and genuinely. It's self-work, and it's a continuous commitment to help others through helping ourselves. There is manifestation in there that we have to heal ourselves and believe. Empathy, ageless health care professionals have the wisdom from healing. It's about self-reflecting. It's empathy based. It's needing healing first. Need to have that cup filled to be able to give to others. Absolutely. Empathy, compassion, vulnerability are vital to helping others genuinely. And you guys, that's exactly it. And so I feel that, these 3 days, they're really just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a lifelong journey of becoming the highest expression of who you have been called to be in this life. For me, that highest expression is being a trauma-informed professional and to engage and recruit as many other like-minded, heart-centered people as possible on the planet to come and join this movement, join this mission with me. And to achieve that through a personal journey of self-discovery and unbundling, if you will, through the 8 attributes of a trauma-informed professional. So I'll list them for you as well, and I hope this is not too overwhelming. But so the first one is being knowledgeable, but knowledgeable through all ways of knowing, not just empirical knowledge, but intuitive, personal, technical, experiential, metaphysical knowing. Number 2 is healing intention and being able to demonstrate all ways of healing for self and for others. It's about personal wholeness. That's the 3rd attribute. And we've really talked a lot about that, particularly yesterday, personal wholeness and all ways of wholeness. What is that? It's mindful wholeness. It's physical wholeness. It's connecting with nature. It's rejuvenating, restoring, and renewing our sense of self. And the 4th attribute is courage and all waves of braving. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is taking action in spite of fear. And so how do you cultivate that? Because all of these are within each of us. We just have to unbundle it, take out those cups and discover it. And these first 4 attributes really become the foundation for the action attributes, if you will, right? The next 4, which is about advocacy, all ways of advocating for others, championing others through advocacy. You need to be courageous. You need to know what you're talking about, knowledgeable. You have to have that intention, and you have to have personal wholeness to be able to do the good fight, and to advocate admirably for others, whether they're babies, families, colleagues, and yourself. That was 4, 5. That's number 5. Number 6 is role modeling and mentoring. Again, you need to have those first 4, and you need, when you're a role model, right? There's advocacy there. You're advocating for your principles as your role model. We're always a role model, right? All the time, every moment of the day, we're role modeling. We're role modeling good behaviors and maybe not so good behaviors, right? But role modeling as a trauma-informed professional is intentional, and it's bound by also this concept of mentoring, intentional role modeling, right? Mentoring others in what it is to be a trauma-informed professional. And then the seventh attribute is scholarship, being scholarly, which is really about sharing, all ways of sharing, sharing knowledge, sharing insights, sharing wisdom. And whether that's doing lunch and learns or, publishing in journals, or just, being with another person and sharing your insights with them. Those are all ways of sharing, culminating with the eighth attribute, which is becoming a leader for change. And all ways of leading, formal, informal, technically, spiritually, all the different ways that we can become leaders for change. I see some folks. Number 1 was knowledgeable, and number 5 was advocacy. And I'll share this in my follow-up email with you guys. But I just, all of this journey is, again, it's just the beginning. And so I want to call you to action with this information. If it resonates with you, if you feel called to move forward, okay? Some of you may be still processing this. There's a lot that we've really unbundled over these past 3 days. But I think, I think many of you are ready. I'm trying to look over here now. I've seen many people have commented as I was talking. So happiness is not something ready made. It comes from your own actions. Yes, that's so beautiful. Pardon my upcoming language, but one of the most important things I learned in my coaching program are it doesn't have to feel like shit to be you. And that's so true. That's so true. It doesn't have to. And we talked about that, right? When we looked at when we were on our restore day, what does it feel like to be you? And you guys were so raw. And it doesn't need to feel that way. But sometimes when you're there in that dark place, you can't see the forest through the trees. And so I'm hoping that these past 3 days have helped kind of, cleared a path for you, so to speak, right? That you're starting to see that you can get out of this and that you can move to that next phase in your growth and evolution. And if it's to become a trauma-informed professional, yay, follow me. And if it's not the right time, that's cool too. I'm always here and I'll be waiting for you. I'm just reading here. I love that jungle analogy. Cool. I haven't received any emails. I'm sorry, Robin. So I will use that email address and circle back with you. Thank you. I'm just thinking that instead of not sharing my ideas because I don't think they are worth it, now I think others don't need to use the ideas, but I can let them go and send them out there for anyone else to use. Absolutely. It's when we have those ideas, when we have those inspirations, it's not our issue to worry what other people are going to think about it, because our ideas come from our inspiration. They come from our inner wisdom. And at least my inner wisdom, and I'm pretty sure she's cousins with all of yours, she's a pretty smart chick. So share it. And where it goes, it's like seeds, right? Wherever they fall, they fall. They either fall on, fertile soil, or they don't. It's all good. You don't have to worry about it. You just let it out there. That's how I feel about the work that I do. It's out there. I'm here for you, and if you're ready to embrace this, awesome sauce. If it's not the right time, that's okay too. And so before I do my wrap up here, I'm just going to open it up to you guys to share your thoughts, ask questions before we wrap up. I love that, Lori. Yeah. One person's trash is another person's treasure, but yours are likely treasures. That I believe that too. I know, Una. It takes a lifetime sometimes to move the needle. Yes, yes. But it's the journey. It's not the destination, right? I mean, sometimes, we do set these, kind of milestones for us on the journey, but it's not like you ever get to self-actualization, right? You think about Maslow's hierarchy. It's always moving closer and closer and closer towards it. But every new plateau, there's new discoveries and there's new awareness of more growth, right? So that's what I'm really talking about here. Yes, Robin, thank you so much. I'm absolutely going to share some more information with everybody. I have to not compare myself to other team members. That's right, Angela. There's nobody on your team like you. You are it. You are unique. There is only you, and you have to feel good about that. If you don't feel good about that, why would anybody else? If you don't think you're worthy, why would anybody else? And that's why it just comes back to you. Being trauma informed, being the highest expression of yourself begins and ends with you. Mwah. All right, so don't hang up yet, okay? Because just a few facts, Jack, that I have here on my housekeeping. I will email you all this afternoon with your certificate of attendance /CE. And I will also announce the winner of our special drawing that I made mention to this morning. So keep your eyes peeled for an email later on this afternoon. And I think it was Robin. I'll attend to any discrepancies in the emails. If you want to throw your email in there, if you're worried in the least that I may not have the right address, pop it in there, okay? And with regards to everybody who is interested in the program or just interested in a little more Mary, if you're not too saturated yet, I'm going to follow up tomorrow with a video and an email and a very, very, very special limited offer just for you guys who've registered and attended this webinar series. I cannot begin to tell you how blessed and grateful I am for the level of engagement, for your participation, for your honesty, and just sharing your time with me. I am like completely blown away, and I just want you to know how much it really means to me to be able to spend this time with you. So sorry about that. Okay, I feel like now we're all family. We've been spending 3 days together, so now what am I going to do tomorrow? So if you're not done with me yet, keep an eyeball on your mailbox tomorrow as well as this afternoon. So thank you so very much. Stay connected with me. Any questions that pop up, shoot them my way. All right. I'm always up for it. I'm nut about this stuff, as in case you haven't figured that out yet. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody. Mwah. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care and care well. All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you very much. Love you all.